Hey guys, today we're working on a Hyundai. It's a 2006 Hyundai Accent, and we're just going to be doing a simple oil and an oil filter change. And so a couple of things, firstly we're going to need oil. It recommends 3.5 quarts. We're using a 5 weight 30. And then the oil filter that we need for this particular car is the 2808, okay? And you'll notice that they're located underneath the vehicle, unlike the Nissan Maxima, which you have to take the right wheel off. In this particular vehicle, it's all underneath and it's pretty easy to access. So get your oil pan ready, have your funnel ready, and then a couple of things that we want to do when we start out. I'll just grab the camera. We want to make sure that we cars got in the park. We've got the e-brake on. We've chocked those rear wheels. We've jacked the car up, okay, and we've got the jack stands just under there, holding it up. And then you want to make sure that you have your access so that you can get under the car nice and easy. And then all we're going to be doing is taking that filter off, putting a new filter on, and then there's our sump plug for the oil. So I'll tell you what sizes they are in just a minute. Alright guys, so we're under here about to take the sump plug off. We've got our oil pan ready to go, and just consider which way the oil is going to flow, because if it's at the back here, it's going to make a spout down here, so you want to make sure you got it ready to catch. The size of our sump plug nut is a 1/2 inch, so I've got my 1/2 inch there. I've just broken the tension on that nut, okay? All right, and just loosening it, and then I'm gonna take it off with my fingers. And just remember this, if you're doing this, if the oil's still quite hot, you can still do it, but just be aware that you make sure you get the washer and the nut together off, and make sure it doesn't end up in your oil pan. That's happened to me plenty of times before, okay? So we're just being careful to get that nut out and not allowing it to fall, and making sure that washer comes off, and then there we are. And that oil is pretty black, so it's time for an oil change and a filter change. So we'll just let this drain out. We'll take the oil filter off, and then we'll go step by step. All right guys, so I've taken out the nut out of this, the bolt out of the sump plug here, and I've been taking off the oil filter. These little bad boys are fantastic. Alex, my mate, he had a pair of these, and that got me this oil filter off, because whoever put this oil filter on here last time put it on real tight. But it's tucked up in here, and that you'll see the oil filter after I show you it. But just make sure you move your oil pan over so that extra oil that comes out of that oil filter has somewhere to drain to. There is a plastic cover under here that you can take off, but you can still get access to it without taking that plastic cover off. But you can have a look here, and as I take this off, you can see it kind of had to crunch that. It was on there really, really good. Guys, whenever you're taking off an oil filter, always make sure that the plastic or the rubber rim, okay, doesn't get stuck to the car. Make sure that it comes off. This one's still good, so we're good. But you can see how easily that could come off, and then you put your new one on and it's already got one on there, and so then you're going to be leaking oil everywhere. So make sure that the rubber always comes off with the oil filter, and you leave that in there upside down to drain. And we'll get our new one, clean that area up, and put her on. All right guys, so this car takes 3.5 quarts of oil. So a trick my dad always taught me to kind of flush out that oil that might still be residing in the sump is whatever you don't need from here, you pour through. It kind of flushes it out. So we'll pour down to just a little bit over 3.5 quarts. We'll leave a little over 3.5 quarts in here so I can fill up that oil filter. And then just let that flush into that oil pan at the bottom. And so it'll flush out some of that oil. You'll see it coming out the bottom, and it'll be a little dark golden. You know, this is golden. It'll be a little dark golden to flush that oil out. And then once we're down to about 3.5, just over 3.5 quarts here on the jug, then we'll close it up, put the new filter in, and we'll be good to go. We'll fill it up with the rest of the oil. So we got the new oil filter, and I've put a little bit of oil around there just to lubricate that ring. So we just make sure that rubber ring's on there, and the old rubber ring came off. So we're good. So we'll put it in there, and we'll tighten it with our hands. We'll tighten it as best we can with our hands. That way next time we can get off with our hands, and we don't have to use this guy and damage the oil filter. But we'll put it up in there, we'll tighten that on, and after we put the new oil filter on, and we'll close up that plug for the sump, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so we put the oil filter on, we sealed that up really nice and well, and then you want to make sure that with your bolt that goes back into your sump, that firstly it's clear, so I got a little bit of gunk on here that I just need to clean up, so it makes a nice clean seal, but also that your washer's on there. You want to make sure that that washer goes on there so that it makes a good seal. Because the last thing you want is for oil to leak out of here and then your engine to go dry and then to seize up. So we're going to clean this up and then see how it stopped flowing out. We're going to put this back in, make sure you get a nice seal, tighten it up real good, and then fill it up with those 3.5 quarts of oil. Sump plug bolts in, it's tightened up, oil filters on. We're just putting out a little over 3.5 quarts just in the top here. Once this is filled up, put the cap back on, fire it up, and just make sure it's not leaking at all, and we're good to go. Alright guys, so for those of you that are doing this at home, you don't want to be taking your oil and just throwing it in the trash can. You take that oil filter, and you take that sump oil, you put it back in the box, and you can take that back to your local auto parts manufacturer, and you'd be surprised. These guys take this oil and they recycle it. So don't be afraid to put it back in a container, and that's why I use this tray, so it's real easy to take it home. Take it to your local oil parts manufacturer, and these guys will take this oil and they'll put it in a big old drum free of charge. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.